Hello! Today we will learn about prerequisite programs of HACCP certification. HACCP provides trust to companies and consumers with opportunities to select safe and healthy food products. A food manufacturer should follow systematic prerequisite programs to adopt HACCP system. The prerequisite management standards among food safety management standards require to establish and observe 8 standards, including workspace management, hygiene management, production process cooking facility, equipment management, refrigeration freezing facility management, water management, storage transport management, inspection management, and recall program management. Today, we are going to learn about frequent mistakes in workplace and prerequisites that you should keep in mind.
For safe and clean food to be manufactured, the environment of workspace is very important. In accordance with HACCP certification standards, a workplace should be an independent building or isolated from the facilities used as non-food related purposes. A workspace is required to designate general area, semi-sanitized area, sanitized area. The reason for separating the area is to prevent pollution occurred when moving between areas. Certain process should take place only in designated areas, and manufacturing process should not take place outside of the workspace. When moving logistics between areas, separate logistics movement passages can prevent pollution between processes. Also, since foreign substances can get into the food during manufacturing process, it is very important to organize the surrounding environment of workspace. Waste cannot be left around the workspace, and surrounding environment should be organized in a clean manner to improve work efficiency and prevent foreign substances from getting in. The drains around workspace are where wastewater is released and vulnerable to risk factors such as stench, harmful insects, and rodents. Therefore, it is recommended to manage those places by installing a screen or filter to prevent risk factors from getting in. A workspace should always be sealed to block external pollutants such as fine dust and harmful insects. It is recommended to install a rubber pad on the workspace door to completely seal the space. Windows can also be exposed to risk factors. Even when the weather is hot, opening the windows or door is a dangerous action that might allow external pollutants getting into the workspace. Dangerous substances can get in through even a small gap of the window, so it is better to fill in the gaps using silicone pad. When the ceiling is damaged, it should be sealed immediately. Rodents can move through coin-sized holes, so it is important to manage even a small hole meticulously. You can easily check how well the workspace is sealed by checking the light beaming through after turning off the lights in the workspace. The floor, wall, and ceiling of the workspace can also be the causes for food pollution. Therefore, appropriate quality of material should be used in accordance with facility standards by types of business. It is recommended to select waterproofing materials for both ceiling and floor that are not easily damaged under the work circumstances. The drains of workspace are vulnerable to decomposition due to wastewater, food residue, etc. The drains should be covered with a lid to prevent cross-contamination, and frequent cleaning and disinfection should be conducted so that food residues are not left in the drains. In addition, if there is a puddle in the workspace, water could get into the products to cause pollutions, and it is also very dangerous to the safety of workers as well. Therefore, the wetness of workspace should be minimized by managing the drains in a right manner. The best way is to connect the drain and ditch directly to prevent water being exposed to the workspace. Managing the passages used by the workers is also important. It is recommended to mark movement route on the passages in accordance with the flow of process. Marking the route can prevent cross-contamination during movement. Also, you should not stack products in the passages or use them as other purposes. It causes issues concerning cross-contamination and safety during movement. When a window of the workspace is broken, and pieces of glass get into the product, it is a very dangerous risk factor. Therefore, the glass of windows of the workspace should be made of intensified glass or intensified plastic, and it is recommended to use film-coated paper to prevent scattering when broken. Within the workspace, especially, selected inspection areas should maintain bright work environment to have a good view of pollutants. If intensity of illumination is insufficient, additional lighting fixtures are required. One more fact is that lighting is also glass, so it is important to prepare for its break. Putting a cover on the lighting is a good way to prevent injection of broken piece of glass, dust, etc. Using a heat-resisting plastic container is also a good way. Restrooms and dressing rooms are the most common subsidiary facilities in a workplace. A restroom is frequently used by workers and is a place with extremely high risk of cross-contamination. A restroom should have a separate ventilation equipment to discharge internal air to the outside, and workers should wash their hands clean after using the restroom at the sanitary arrangements installed in the entrance. A dressing room is a place to change disinfected overgarments with high risk of cross-contamination. In a dressing room, there should be no objects other than changing boxes, while keeping disinfected shoes and regular shoes in a separate place. And also, disinfected overgarments and regular overgarments should be kept separately.
For a food manufacturer, there is nothing more important than manufacturing the products in a clean and sanitary environment. HACCP has prepared systematic prerequisite programs to manage hygiene management of the manufacturers.
A food manufacturer should eliminate objects with foreign substances and minimize the exposure of equipment to the outside to block foreign substances from getting in. Tapes, film paper can easily be torn and have risk of erosion. Thus, it is recommended not to use them and get rid of them in advance. Using attachments with a magnet or blocking the connecting parts of equipment can prevent foreign substances. Also, thread and scrap metal are also foreign substances that are likely to occur, and these are used inevitably in the process. It is recommended to prepare for appropriate measures to prevent foreign substances from getting in during usage.
Managing the hygiene of equipment and environment is important, but individual hygiene management of the workers is also important. The entrance separating the general areas and sanitized areas plays a role to embed correct attitudes to the workers in terms of hygiene management and work.
Therefore, how to wear appropriate clothes in each area should be posted in the entrance. Also, it is recommended to purchase cleansing, disinfection, drying equipment for individual hygiene management. A worker should follow the hygiene management process before going into the workplace. Wearing bright-colored disinfected overgarments is recommended, and disinfected hats should cover hair completely. Also, workers must wear gloves and aprons in accordance with the characteristics of process. Disinfected shoes used in workplace should be cleaned and dried before going in and getting out of the workplace to prevent foreign substances from being left in bottom of the shoes. Installing a tape or rug is a good way to eliminate foreign substances left in workers' shoes. A worker should not bring individual belongings into the workplace, such as cellular phones, accessories, etc., and work while wearing regulated uniforms. What is the most important is that workers themselves should focus on hygiene management when entering and getting out of the workplace to prevent cross-contamination. A food manufacturer must install a ventilation system to discharge stench, harmful gas, steam, etc. occurred in workplace. Natural ventilation has a risk of adulteration by harmful substances from outside, so a ventilation system is required for ventilation. Also, harmful insects and rodents could get into the workplace through exhaust pipe connected with outside, so filers or screens should be attached. In a workplace, diverse types of tools are used to catch harmful insects. Those tools should be managed periodically, and capturing tools are preferred to electric shock insecticidal tools. since electric shock has the risk of scattering the fragments of harmful insects. Traps used to prevent influx of rodents should be installed at the entrance, windows, etc., connected with the outside, and recommended to have covers to prevent dust accumulation. Waste occurred during the food manufacturing process also should be managed. Waste and raw materials must be kept separately, and waste must be discarded, contained in a separate container. Also, waste container should have a cover to prevent occurrence of stench and harmful insects. Waste disposal records should be kept in detail, and waste disposal facility should be installed in places isolated from the workplace. The workplace should be equipped with facilities and equipment to clean and disinfect machine equipment, tool container, etc. It is obvious that they should be kept clean since they are used in food manufacturing process. Tools likely to make foreign substances, such as brooms, steel wool pads, are not recommended, and tools less likely to make foreign substances should be used. Keeping the equipment clean that is used during manufacturing and process is also very important, but many companies are negligent about these things. Equipment must have its own cleansing disinfection process to be managed in a clean status. In addition, cleaning equipment should be kept in designated places to prevent cross-contamination. A simple ring can help manage the cleaning equipment more neatly.
Food manufacturers provide healthy and delicious food to consumers using diverse equipment and cookwares. Keeping the equipment and cookwares clean is very important.
A food manufacturer should not mix manufacturing equipment, tools, packing materials, processed products, etc. with lubricants, paint, tools to prevent cross-contamination, and materials that directly touch the food, like packing materials, should be sealed before usage. Also, the bottom of the containers for raw materials should not touch the product to prevent cross-contamination. During storage of the raw materials, putting on a cover is a good way to prevent influx of foreign substances. All materials used in a workplace should be made of qualities that do not create food pollution. Using a carpentry glove, recycled rubber container, tension plate made of inappropriate qualities is a main cause of food pollution. Therefore, cookware and containers should be used in accordance with the standards defined by Food Sanitation Act. Also, when operating temperature control facilities, such as a heater, cooler, freezer, etc., the temperature should be measured and recorded frequently by attaching a device to measure the temperature of facilities. When the manufacturing facilities are closely located to wall of the workplace, it is difficult to clean and disinfect. Therefore, a manufacturing facility should be located with separate distance from the wall. In addition, when a facility is broken, immediate replacement is important to protect hygiene and safety. In order to do so, the workers should have accurate information about how to maintain the facility to conduct thorough monitoring and maintenance.
Refrigeration and freezing facilities used by a food manufacturer should be managed very strictly because they safely keep the products.
The temperature of refrigeration should be under 10 degrees Celsius, and the temperature of freezing should be under -18 degrees Celsius, which varies by the characteristics of the products. Also, a thermometer should be installed to check the temperature frequently. When installing temperature perceiving apparatus, it should be installed at the top of the facility, where the temperature is measured at the highest level. Another fact to be cautious about when using a refrigeration facility is that product pollution can occur by the moisture condensation at the bottom of the cooler. Therefore, a separate equipment should be installed and managed to prevent pollution caused by the moisture condensation.
Water is very critical in food manufacturing process, and water should be used safely as well.
When using tap water or underground water in a food manufacturer, It should be suitable in accordance with drinking water standards. Also, water tank and water pipe should be made of materials that are not harmful to human body. And if you are using a water tank made of cement, it is recommended to waterproof coat or replace with safer materials. In order to prevent external pollutants from getting in, a water tank or water storage facility should have a locking device.
It is important to maintain safety in food manufacturing process at the workplace, but you should also not forget the possibility of pollution during storage or distribution of the products.
For warehousing of raw materials, subsidiary materials, those should fit the warehousing standards. Also, the raw materials and finished products should be used by first in, first out rule, and all storage and release records should be kept. Raw materials, subsidiary materials, and finished products should be managed at more than 10 centimeters distance from the wall and floor. There is a risk of pollutants on the wall to get into the product, and also water and food residue on the floor could splash into the product. In the same sense, containers used during the process should not be placed directly on the floor, but should have certain distance from the floor. Therefore, it is recommended to use a shelf or pallet to keep the required distance from the floor. In a workplace, you should be careful in managing chemical substances, like detergents, because they can be highly dangerous when getting into the product. Therefore, toxic, inflammable, and non-edible substances should be kept separately from the food handling areas at places with enough ventilation.
Until now, we have learned about the prerequisite programs of HACCP. Since HACCP is established based on trust, the prerequisite programs are very strict and systematic. It could seem rather difficult to you now, but if you have the will to produce healthy food that consumers can trust, meeting the prerequisites might not be that hard as you think. Thank you.